The Indianapolis Colts lose a heartbreaker to the Houston Texans by a score of 20-16 at Lucas Oil Stadium to move to 8-4 on the 2025 season. So, what should we make of this Colts team? Is it time to hit the panic button? And how do you, the fans, feel about Indianapolis for the final 5-game stretch? Well, let's talk about it. Welcome to the Horseshoe Huddle Podcast, as always, presented by Indianapolis Colts on SI. I'm Drake Wally, co-deputy editor for, I guess it's deputy editor for the website there on Sports Illustrated, and official host now of the podcast. Of course, the great Noah Jabeur. He stepped away for very, very noble reasons. Wish him the best. Absolute, just badass. Going to miss him on the show. Right now, we're kind of in that transition period where it's just me. We're only going to be doing Monday shows where just to kind of lay it out for everybody, I'm going to be breaking down mostly what happened in the last game. Of course, we don't have the Chiefs update, cry, tears. It's probably best that we don't have to talk about two losses on one episode. So, but it's going to be breaking down mostly the game that just happened, and then a nice brief a preview of what's to come. Without further ado, I'll just go ahead and say this. It could be 30 minutes. It could be 45 minutes. This is the first time I've done this show by myself, but I will be finishing it out for the rest of the season. And actually, Noah is not completely out of this. He is doing the behind-the-scenes work for me, getting these things ready until I find a new host or co-host for this show. But guys, we're going to jump right into it here. Patrick Rye, the CFO of the Horseshoe Huddle, dropping a $10 super chat here. Thank you so much, Patrick. You're a legend. With Pierce proving definitely yesterday that the Colts need him back, will an Alec Pierce extension along with the quick hitter slot routes Warren can run spell the beginning of the end for Downs in Indy? Very interesting question. Josh Downs, he's not had this. He hasn't really had this good. I'm not saying he hasn't had a good season, right? But it just seems like he's a little bit off kilter with this offense. It feels like now that Tyler Warren is there and that Alec Pierce has stepped up, it's almost as if you're kind of asking yourself, who is Josh Downs? What is his role in this offense? He had a couple of absolutely incredible snags yesterday, right? Especially that sideline catch, incredible. Really showed off his skills as a wide receiver. It also proved that he can be that guy that makes these just absolutely blockbuster catches. He can still win more than just a slot receiver, all sorts of stuff like that. So Patrick, I will say that I think you got to keep Alec Pierce. You just do. He's officially expanded his game. He's no longer just this dude that you rely on as a deep threat like he was in 2022, 2023, 2024. He is officially a legitimate dude. He's able to make intermediate catches. He's able to get some yards after catch. He's always going to be that guy that specializes most in the deep ball. But man, as far as being an entire football player, he has made that leap, and it's incredibly impressive because he's done it seemingly over a season, right? Even last year, he had 37 catches for 824 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns. He's only played 9 games. He has 5 more if he's fully healthy. He's already at 33 catches. He's already at 689 receiving yards. He's averaging 68.9 receiving yards a game. He plays 5 more games. That's like 350 receiving yards. That puts the dude over 1,000 for the year. So you got to keep him. And Tyler Warren, it absolutely is now he might be the most versatile weapon on the entire Colts offense. All right. He can do everything. He can block. He can play fullback. He can throw the damn ball. He can play slot, play outside, play in line. He does the dirty work. He's happy to just be whatever role player you need him to be for that game. And he hasn't fallen below 3 catches in any game this season. Absolute baller. So I think that, yes, if you do extend Alec Pierce, I think that if you are talking about an odd man out, because I'd really like to see them keep Nick Cross. I'm not going to lie. I mean, Josh Downs is the guy that's out, and I'm not saying that Josh Downs is easily replaceable because he's not, right? But you can find slot receivers. You can't find another Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce is becoming a serious, I think he's becoming a low-key star. So, but thank you so much, Patrick. As always, you are the man. And we got to get into a couple things here. Yes, I was late. Late, Wally. Sorry, this is new. I'm doing this by myself now. Of course, Paul says he's working out the guns. We all know it. What I was actually doing, Paul, is now that I'm hosting this thing by myself, I mean, I had to get my apple juice. So I appreciate you guys being very, very patient with me. Yeah, so Nathan Comanci here. We're getting to some of the comments first. Franklin took a step back, and Pratt were horrible in pass coverage. They need Carlisle back. I will push back a little bit, Nathan, but also agree with you. Zaire Franklin, he's a downhill linebacker. Okay, he's a guy that will attack. He's great at blitzing. He's good at stopping the run. He misses. I know he attempts a lot of tackles, right? The more you attempt something, the better chance you might have of missing or failing or whatever. But dude, he misses a lot of tackles. I mean, Zaire Franklin is also a liability in coverage. For being a guy that is a prominent linebacker, what I like to say about Zaire is not to sit here and criticize him. I don't want to do that on this show, but the dude is busy. He's busy. That's what is the most alluring thing about Zaire Franklin. He's busy. He's gonna make a lot of tackles. He's gonna be around the football a lot. He's probably gonna knock away some passes. He'll get you some sacks. He'll get you some tackles for loss. But he's not as great of a linebacker as people think. Like when you start looking a little deeper, Zaire makes a lot of mistakes, and he's a liability in coverage. Now, I'll push back on Jermaine Pratt. Jermaine Pratt, in many ways, is outplaying Zaire Franklin these past couple of weeks. He made 20 tackles against the Chiefs. I think he had 8 or 9 second on the team against the Texans. But he's better in pass coverage. He almost had a pick 6 against C.J. Stroud, Nathan. In fact, going back and watching that game, if you do so, go back and watch that game. When Jermaine Pratt gets his paw on the football, Stroud throws a pass, and he immediately starts running because he thinks Pratt's going to take it. He thinks Pratt's going to start running it back to the house. Stroud was fully anticipating that he'd have to make a tackle. I mean, Jermaine Pratt has impressed me, actually. I think that he looks great, and the Colts need to consider keeping him. I said it. I mean, I mean that. Jalen Carlisle, man, he can't even get on the field right now. So whether he can cover, whether he can play, that doesn't matter right now. Dude can't get on the field. The Colts haven't felt like he's ready to get on the field. Instead, they just mostly go with 2 linebacker sets. We'll see. But I am a guy that will tell you, I personally, I have his jersey too. Love Zaire. I think he's overrated though. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay. So we'll get this one, and then we'll start getting into the kind of the fabric of the show. It's going to be a little bit different than the typical layout since it's just me. It's going to be a lot more interacting with you fine people. So throw those comments in there. They don't have to be super chats. I'm not going to be this guy that's going to push you to spend money. If you want to donate to the show, by all means, probably will. Half of it might go to YouTube, just to be completely transparent. But Teresa Willis Johnson says, and we'll get this out of the way because I do not have this on my outline. But the refs got us. They didn't make the field goal, and the refs said they did. Moore didn't do a PI, and the refs said they did. They were out of time, and the refs didn't call it. And we're going to need a damn kicker. All of those things are accurate. So just I can't remember. In fact, while I'm mulling it over, so. When it comes to that officiating crew, absolutely abhorrent type of officiating. Like you're gonna look at this game, and you will, as far as the NFL season goes. Okay, yeah, okay. So Clay Martin's crew is who we're talking about here. It's not just Colts fans, okay. And you won't hear this from Texans fans. They got themselves a W, okay? you cannot blame the Houston Texans for this. Don't crap on their fans. Don't scream that, the Texans, they were, they were lucky. I mean, they just went out there and played football. If the shoe's on the other foot, what are Colts fans saying? They're going to say, "Oh, those were bad calls," but it happens. And Houston fans are going to roast the Colts fans. So the teams are out there playing football, right? But Clay Martin put on arguably the most disgusting. His crew put on the most disgusting game of officiating I've seen in recent memory. It just so happened that it happened against the Colts. It gave me very much 2023 Cleveland Browns vibes when it was on Darryl Baker Jr. to lose that game. And then the Colts were in a situation in week 18 where they were in, or if you win it, you're in. If they don't have that crappy game against the Browns where the officiating ruined it for them, they're not in that situation. They could have lost and still gotten in the playoffs that year. So this could be a season-defining officiating gaffe. But yes, especially the one that really pisses me off, Teresa, is the field goal. And it's not reviewable. Absolutely unacceptable. And this isn't the first time officials have ruined games. It's been multiple times, multiple teams. It just so happens that the Colts and the Texans was the game where you just saw it off the rails. I mean, you saw it against the Falcons in Berlin. They don't know what they're doing with the coin toss. They're the officials. It's like they've literally got their heads in a place that they can't see, breathe, or hear. Right? Maybe in a place with each other. Who knows? But this has to be addressed. It's absolutely disgusting. The NFL officiating has gotten out of hand, and they're going to ruin more games than just this one if it's allowed. You've got to either make these guys full-time employees instead of contractors, give them benefits. I don't know what the hell you got to do, but this needs to be addressed. And after this season, don't be surprised if you start seeing some staffing changes with the way that they put together officiating crews, because it was rough. But as far as Michael Badgley, yes, it's not much, but it is. You miss an extra point in a game like this, right? It's 20-16. Indianapolis is marching down the field. You don't want to put your foot on the brake pedal. You don't want to pump that brake pedal, right? You want to score a touchdown. But they could have also been like, hey, if we don't get this, we can kick a field goal and take this thing to our third straight overtime. Michael Badgley didn't give him the chance to do that, and Shane Steichen was asked about it, and he point blank. This is where Shane Steichen will give you everything you need to know by not saying anything. He goes, "I leave that to Chris Ballard and his crew, but we'll be confident with whoever we go out there with." So that basically means fully expect them to work out kickers and sign somebody else. I mean, Michael Badgley, he hasn't been it. He's made some good kicks, but he's just not it. But yeah, okay. So Paul Wilson here dropping a super chat. Paul, always talking about my guns over here. What a guy. Both our lines need to step up. They are paid a ton and are costing us games. Honestly, Paul, and I'll get into this later, the defense, yet again, I have no complaints. No complaints. The Colts offensive line, you've got all the complaints. They're getting exposed. There was one play in particular that was absolutely hard to watch. And it's what D'Amico Ryans, he's just a genius, man. Give him his flowers. Texans fans are so fortunate to have, Colts fans are fortunate to have Steichen. But Ryans is like Steichen on the defensive side of the football. He took Will Anderson, who is generally your edge rusher. He's on, a tackle, or maybe he's moved inside. He's a defensive tackle, nose, whatever. You can do a lot with a guy as nimble and as athletic and fast as Will Anderson Jr. He took Will Anderson, put him at middle linebacker, basically. And instead of being down, he took 2 steps back, timed out the snap perfectly, and then ran right at Tanner Bortolini, and he just snowplowed the hell out of him. I mean, he absolutely melted Tanner Bortolini and shoved him directly into Daniel Jones's lap. I mean, for a quarterback that has a fractured fibula and a center that has looked every bit like a starter, I mean, they're getting exposed. Teams are figuring out how to attack Indy's offensive line, which is where it's make or break for them. They got to run. If they run the ball well, it's generally because the line's playing well. And if Daniel Jones is wheeling and dealing, I mean, he was doing good against pressure to start the year, but that's drastically changed. So the offensive line is going to have to do something. Tony Sperano is going to need to get in their ear, feed them less pasta. I don't know what the hell they got to do, right? But that offensive line's paid too much money. You just gave Bernard Ryman a $100 million contract. You just restructured Braden Smith to keep him. You're going to pay Gonsalves at some point, likely. You're going to pay Bortolini at some point. Those are your two starters, and you got big money Q. That's an expensive-ass offensive line to let their quarterback get beat up the way that he has, right? So we'll see. We'll see. But I would put more of the emphasis on that offensive line than defensive line. The defense is out there too much. These past 2 games, they've been out there an absolutely unacceptable amount of time. But thank you so much, Paul. You are fantastic. And we'll get to one more here. Alval 2020. Steichen does leave some points off the board with some of his aggressive play calls. Not sure if that happened in this game, Alval, but not going to lie, I agree. He is almost like he's almost like me, you, or anyone in this chat in Madden. It's 4th down and 7, right? You got 4 verts dialed up, right? Why the hell not? Just audible a crosser and audible a drag and, have guys go across. Like, it's like Steichen honestly can't help himself. If it's 4th down, dude's going for it. Like, it's crazy to me. But Shane Steichen has a lot of things to figure out. Let's just say that. The offense has been had. It's really difficult for me to believe in this offense right now. I'm not going to lie to you. So, but anyway, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump into the actual content here for this episode. Make sure I didn't get any more super chats. So, guys, we're just going to jump right into it. So the Colts drop a key game to the Texans. 20-16 was the final score. The Texans had their way. Daniel Jones only got sacked once for 6 yards. Very good, because he is playing hurt. I don't care if it's a little nick, a chip. It is painful. He has an air cast on that thing, or it was a 3D cast or something that some roommates at Duke made for him, or something like that. But I mean, it's really, really concerning at this point. You saw it in this game. Yes, the officials sucked. Okay. Do the Colts win if the officials don't suck like that? Maybe. But just like Cam Bynum said in the post-game interviews where they were interviewing these guys around the locker room, they shouldn't have been in that position for the officials to decide it for them. They should have been able to put belt to ass. They're at home. You already lost 2 of your last 3 games. And you're playing a quarterback that's coming off of concussion. He hasn't played in a month. And you're playing a defense that you do, while they're very skilled, you have a clear game plan as to how to beat them. Run the football, help your quarterback by setting up some play action, and get quick reads going. You got to have those wide receivers win quickly. All right? It's not all on Daniel Jones. It's not all on the offensive line, and it's not all on Jonathan Taylor. Michael Pittman, I mean, hell, he had what? 1 catch on 4 targets? Absolutely unacceptable. He had drops. Josh Downs had drops. I mean, Alec Pierce led the way in catches with only 4. He led the way in receiving yards with 78. 22 of those came on 1 play. And then you look at Josh Downs. He has 44 receiving yards. Sounds sexy, but when you put into account that 34 of those came on 1 catch, he was targeted 6 times and he caught 2 passes. Okay, Daniel Jones probably has like 19 completions out of 27 if the receivers get off of their defenders quicker, win quicker, run routes better, deal with press coverage better, and read the zones better. I mean, the receivers really let down the Colts offense in this game. Tyler Warren, he scored himself a touchdown, and that was great, but he was probably the most efficient receiver, and he couldn't get any yards after catch going. I mean, this defense, they did a great job, but the Colts receivers, they've got to step up. But I think in the long tooth way of kind of saying something that is really brief, the Colts showed how badly they've been struggling in this game, right? The offense continued to sputter. They gave a clear indicator that when you stop Jonathan Taylor, you leave Daniel Jones on an island. Daniel Jones is also hurt. He can't move. Steichen had him in a bubble. Okay, he was throwing from the pocket. So they dropped this game, and it's on them. I don't care if the officials sucked. I mean, I do, right? Let me rephrase that. I care. I care enough to. It's making me want to hydrate a bit here. But you can't blame the officials for the Colts losing. The Colts lost this game. It's too close for the officials to be blamed. There was too many, lost opportunities. I mean, hell, think about that direct snap to Tyler Warren where they fumble the football. It's just like, why is that called? You have Quentin Nelson and a guy who is emerging as a great guard in Matt Gonsalves and Tanner freaking Bortolini. You have an MVP candidate in the back, and you've got Tyler Warren who can lead block just like a fullback, and you want to try something cute like a direct snap while Tyler Warren is on the move in motion. Honestly, Shane Steichen deserved that. He deserved for that to happen. You got too cute. You got too creative when it was just, look, 1 + 1 = 2. Give the freaking football to Tyler Warren on a handoff with Jonathan Taylor in the background to give them to deceive them into thinking it's an ISO play, or give it to Jonathan Taylor outright and say, hey, man to man, we're paying this offensive line a crap ton of money. It's us against you. And if you guys are good enough to beat us one-on-one in a situation where it's mano-a-mano, so be it. It's just like when the Seahawks tried to throw it instead of give it to Marshawn Lynch. If he can't get you that first down or that touchdown, so be it. If Jonathan Taylor can't get that, so be it. That play pissed me off. That play really decided the game. If they get that first down and they don't do something stupid like that direct snap, we might be talking about a different game and no one's complaining about the officials. You know what I mean? So the Colts shot themselves in the foot in this one. It was not good. That's fair. That's fair. I get it. But still, Steichen has this propensity to outthink himself, to outthink what's on the field. He could have ran the ball more. I know Taylor had 21 carries, but a lot of those came late in the game. It's just one of those things where Shane Steichen right now, he's not able. It's in reverse. Early in the season, teams couldn't figure out how to stop the Colts, and they were lesser tier, but they couldn't figure out how to slow down Indianapolis and what Shane Steichen was doing. Now Shane Steichen can't figure out how the hell to slow down these defenses. It's a simple 3-step program on how to stop the Colts offense. Stack the box, put everybody you can in the second level, keep Jonathan Taylor from busting off a 20, 30, 40, 80-yard run, right? He can get all the carries he wants, but don't let him average. I mean, he averaged 4 yards on the dot per carry, okay? Don't let him get where he's been, which is like that 5.3, 5.5, 5.6 level. Don't let him destroy you, with the ground attack, and blitz the crap out of Daniel Jones. It's a 3-step process, and it's way too simple. It's way too simple right now. And honestly, Jim Bob Cooter has to be better as an offensive coordinator. Tony Sperano Jr. has to be better as an offensive line coach. They're getting cooked. I mean, the Colts right now, they are getting their asses beat by defenses. So, and I understand Houston's got all that talent, but man, the Jaguars coming up, they've got the best run defense in the NFL. You've got a really tough defense in Seattle. You've got a team like the 49ers that can always bring it. And then you've got the Texans and the Jags yet again. So they better figure this out now, because if they don't, you're going to see this happen and they will miss the playoffs. And if that happens after a 7-1 start, I'm low key, guys, getting 2021 vibes right now, and I don't want to feel that. I don't want to even think about that. All I'll say is Daniel Jones with a busted leg is better than healthy Carson Wentz. So, but Patrick, that's a good point. Good point. I know they were getting cooked, but dear Lord, you still have Jonathan Taylor in the backfield, and you have an opportunity to use a lead blocker like Tyler Warren. I just couldn't stand the call. It's like, why would you get so cute when you could just power run this thing and get a yard or two? So, but that's a good point. Thank you so much for the comment there, Patrick. You, as always, are an absolute legend. But yeah, so they dropped this game. It gets them to 2-1 in the division, 8-4 total. Since week 9, they're 1-3. It's not good. And And that actually is a perfect segue into this next one here. Are things falling apart at the seams? And here's where I'm going with this. I came up with an article idea on this one. Boy, we just had a bunch of. Let me see here. NFL schedule makers teed this up at the beginning of the year with the Jags and Texans backloaded twice on the schedule. They did, and it's interesting because you see the way that they make the schedule now. They either put they either front load it or they backload it, but they always give teams almost every time, or maybe it is every time, that Week 18 game is a divisional game, and they do that, of course, for anybody that isn't aware why, so that teams can't sit their players, or so that they're encouraged not to, because nobody, let's say the Colts are undefeated right now. Who the hell wants to see Riley Leonard out there with DJ Giddens or Tyler Goodson and Mo Alley-Cox as your tight end and Ashton Doolin as your wide receiver one? That's why they do it. But yes, the Colts have hit a snag, Patrick, at the absolute worst time. This is when they could least afford it. And that actually is beautiful. It leads me right into this banner here, which is, are things falling apart at the seams? So I had an article idea that I came up with here, and I have to read off what I was thinking. Okay, here we go. So Sauce Gardner, injured, right? He's, of course, they've mentioned that it's week to week. It's not season ending. Potentially, it's not going to, it might not need IR. It's going to be multiple weeks. He's going to miss time, but that's your number one corner that you just traded 2 first-rounders for and A.D. Mitchell. By the way, A.D. Mitchell went out and balled the hell out for the Jets. I mean, he had a game, okay? And I don't know if it was the fit. I don't know if it was just he wasn't grown up enough when he was with the Colts, but if he goes out there to the Jets and balls out, that's going to really hurt because the Jets also have 2 first-rounders. So, but Sauce Gardner is he's your number one cornerback, and then you just watched Mooney Ward get cooked all day by Nico Collins. Not encouraging to see. A.D. Mitchell, like I said, he had the best game of his career with the Jets after you just traded him. Daniel Jones has his fracture, which it might not be super serious, but it's enough that they didn't really dial up RPOs. They didn't really dial up any QB runs, which, to be fair, they haven't done that with Jones, but I mean, he wasn't able to run away from anybody or escape the pocket. And if that continues, that's really not good. Like, that's bad. You got to have the element of surprise with his big ass to be able to run the football. And you can't because he has a fractured leg. So there's that. The offensive issues are just piling up. The receivers weren't able to get off guys fast enough. Well, Patrick's going to have a field day with that comment. They weren't able to win their assignments. There we go. Win their assignments enough. The offensive line looks leaky as hell, like a dam that's about to break. Jonathan Taylor's getting held in check. Jones is having issues against the pressure. Steichen's play calls are getting caught up with quickly. The offense is looking bad. They averaged like 31, 32, 33 points for most of the season. Over the last 4 weeks, they've averaged, I think it was like, I had it in an article, but I don't have it in front of me, but it was like 21, 22, in your low 20 points per game range. And then on top of it, the last 2 weeks, they've averaged 18 points a game. That's just not going to cut it in today's NFL. And then lastly, teams appear to have completely figured out this offense, which is not good. It's really, really bad. Like, it's almost as if out of nowhere, Shane Steichen's like, well, I've got everything that I've got. I can't make adjustments. And you really hope you're wrong. I hope I'm wrong in saying that, because it's not going to get easier. Your schedule to finish the season is an absolute war. It's a war. You have 8 wins right now. Dear God in heaven, I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't. The Colts could lose all these games. They act on paper. Even if the Colts were as good as they have been this whole time, 3 of those are divisional matchups. You can always lose those, right? You always can lose. I don't care if you're 0, if your team is, you have a bottom feeder divisional opponent against the top tier divisional opponent. That bottom feeder, Patrick's mentioned this in the chat. you can lose those games just as easily as you can stomp your opponent. Okay. And then you've got Seattle, who is as hot as anybody. You've got the 49ers, who are always tough because of Kyle Shanahan. And then you're coming off of, 3 out of 4 losses. So it's really rough. Like this is not good. And the Colts, they've got their backs against the wall right now. You're hoping that it's not the case, but it very well could be, guys. And we got, oh my goodness, we have so many comments here. This is why it's a little different being by myself. Okay, yeah. So this is a good one. What we really need is a great pass rusher. You've got it in Leatu Latu. Leatu Latu is a beast. He's athletic as hell. You can drop him back in coverage. He deflects passes. He picks them off. He creates pressure. He's good against the run. Leatu Latu might not have these insane sack numbers, but trust me, Alval, when I say he is an absolute dog, hell of a football player. I think that what would be good is if you could complement him with another edge rusher that is up to his level. Kwity Paye has shown he is who he is, not a sack guy, not a pass rusher, not a pressure guy. He is a run defender through and through. He'll get you a sack here and there, but don't expect more than 6 to 8 sacks every season from Kwity Paye, which honestly is not even that bad. But then you've got, Samson Ebukam. He's kind of fallen off. Tyquan Lewis is your rotational guy. JT Tuimoloau, he's actually, when he's been in there, he's looked pretty good. So maybe that's your next pass rusher. They did spend a second-round pick on him. We'll see. But, I don't disagree. They could use more firepower there. But they chose to do that with Sauce Gardner. All right. They chose to invest in their cornerback room. So we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. It's not looking good right now, but yeah. Okay. So Magnetic Drago, absolutely. Just what an epic name. My God, I love it. Colts are cooked. I see us losing the next 3 games and missing the playoffs. I wouldn't say cooked just yet, right? I will say it might be time to hit the panic button. It might be, but if they lose to the Jaguars, you officially are 8-5. You've lost the right to say you are in control of your own destiny. If they lose against the Jaguars, they're going to have other things happen to make the playoffs because the AFC South is so damn competitive, right? You've got the Texans, the Jags, and the Colts are all playoff teams right now. They literally are. With the Colts being they're the 6th seed out of nowhere. So if you really think about it, this division has blown up out of nowhere. Nobody could have seen it being this competitive. Nobody could have seen it being so daunting to face opponents. And actually, let me rephrase that. The Texans are they are 1 spot out of the playoffs right now. So right now, the Jaguars are the 3rd seed in the AFC. The Colts, after being number 1 in the NFL, let alone the AFC, they are 6th in the AFC now. And the Bills have that 7th spot and Houston's at 8th. So if Houston just plays a good game, in their next contest, they could potentially be in that 7th seed. And if the Colts lose, they're going to be bounced out of contention for the time being. So absolutely wild what has happened. This is a very competitive AFC conference, but even more competitive division in the AFC South. So it's going to be very interesting. Where was okay. He might be a dog, but if there's nobody to meet him in the middle, it does virtually nothing. That's true. DeForest Buckner's absence, Patrick, it has been a real pain for Indianapolis. Teams are not getting that. Offenses are not seeing that pressure right up the middle that really dooms quarterbacks. It really forces bad decisions. From the edge, you can step up into the pocket. You can, if it's coming from your blind side, you can sense it, feel it, run away. If it's coming from your front side, your throwing side, you can see it. If it's coming from right in front of you, your only option is to either dirt the football, take the sack, or try to backpedal away from it and throw over it. Interior pressure is the worst. That's why a guy like DeForest Buckner, he's great against the run. But man, I always say that dude is a 6'7" problem. I mean, when he's in your face, you can't see over him or around him. I mean, he's just an issue. So the fact that he hasn't been playing, you got Grover, who's far more of your run defending variety. It's the Colts. The Colts miss. They very much miss DeForest Buckner right now. But yeah, I'll go ahead and dive into the rest of the episode here. So the offense sputters yet again. We kind of already dove into this, but this is what fuels Indianapolis to win football games, ladies and gentlemen. It's somebody put a laughing emoji. How dare you? You know, these Indianapolis Colts fans are already feeling enough pain. So whoever did that, honestly, it's a free country. You can do whatever you want, but it's just one of those things where the Colts offense is the catalyst to them winning. Okay, like when they were on that torrid start and they were beating the ever-loving crap out of teams, the defense was doing its thing, of course, but like the offense was what was really pounding these teams into the ground that they were facing. It's what made these games so unbalanced, is that the Colts were just pressing that gas pedal all the time, right? They were able to move the ball downfield. They were able to beat you short with Josh Downs and Tyler Warren, intermediate with Michael Pittman and Tyler Warren, deep with Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman, and then they were running the football, and the offensive line wasn't letting Indiana Jones, which people aren't even calling him that anymore. They're just calling him Daniel Jones. They weren't letting him get touched. And when he was seeing pressure, he wasn't seeing an astronomical amount. So he was able to deliver the football. But just to go kind of back to what I said earlier, it's rough. It's rough. The offense has, at this point, I'm not saying it's dire. I'm not saying that, this is what's going to happen going forward, but the offense has been figured out right now. And until they show a game where they go out there and they put up 28, 30, 31 points and win, you got to prove it now, because the Steelers figured you out. The Falcons, even though it was a win, they beat the ever-loving crap out of Daniel Jones. They sacked him 7 times with 7 different players. Then you face the Chiefs. Steve Spagnuolo figures him out at the end of the game. Fourth quarter is just a landslide into oblivion. And then the Texans just absolutely owned Indianapolis for the most part offensively. So you've got 4 straight games where you have shown that you might not be this offensive juggernaut that everyone thought you were. And it's not to say they didn't beat good teams during that stretch, but they weren't teams like, the level of Kansas City and what they can play at. Not saying the Chiefs are a top team right now, but they can always beat you every time, every week. They can always beat you. And then you got a team like the Texans who are looking like a playoff contender right now. And you just got CJ Stroud back. So the Colts are going to have to do something offensively. It looks disgusting. It looks bad. You're making it seem like if you don't have Jonathan Taylor running the football really well, you don't have anything. And I remember Kalen Bullock was on Good Morning Football with Rashad Jennings, and he straight up said, not out of disrespect, he further elaborated that, look, this is a good team. It's just that they really need Jonathan Taylor. But he basically said, look, we need to stop Taylor, because if you stop Jonathan Taylor, they don't really have much else. And that sounded really crappy. Was he wrong? I mean, was he entirely wrong? Like, they kind of showed it against the Texans, man. They really did. So, Nathan, they're not going to rebuild that offensive line. No. You've got everybody you need there. You've got everybody you need. But yes, it's mental errors, penalties, stupid misexecutions, missed assignments. The offensive line needs to just get their bearings back together. But trust me, you will be hard pressed and you will miss an offensive line like the Colts have right now. I know that they haven't looked that great in recent weeks. Find a better offensive line that has more absolute dogs on it than Indianapolis's. They just need to get their bearings, and they will return to their dominating ways. Problem is, the schedule is not easy. That you don't have a get right game. Every team has a winning record that you're facing going forward. Right now, the Jags, the 49ers, the Seahawks, and the Texans, they all have winning records. So, there's no Raiders or Dolphins or Titans to finish the season here. So we'll go ahead and jump into this one. So the defense shines. I love in my heart of hearts, Lou Anarumo. Absolute badass coach. He knows how to just put a quarterback into a math problem every snap. And CJ Stroud, even though Stroud did win the game, and even though he looked pretty good, he was comfortable. He was, he didn't like do anything too crazy bad. He did throw a pick. He was sacked twice, and he was 22 of 35, which is not even that great of that's not even that great of accuracy. Louis Anarumo did his job yet again as the defensive coordinator. Okay. However, if you look into it, you look at Indianapolis's last game against the Chiefs. I will pull up these numbers. They will shock you, fans. Time of possession, overtime included. The Chiefs had the football 42 minutes and 35 seconds. Indy had the football 25 minutes, 28 seconds. Not going to cut it. I don't care if you have the 2000s Ravens, the 80s Bears, the 2013, 12, whatever, Seahawks. I don't give a damn. The 2015 Broncos, you leave your defense out there for 2/3 of the game, 3/4 of the game. They're human beings. They're going to lose. Well, it wasn't as bad, but against the Texans, what do you know? The Colts have too many punts, too many 3-and-outs, too many short drives. And the Texans had the ball 35 minutes. Indy had it 25. Yet again, you can't expect your defense to play that long. You need to help them. Could the defense have played better? Sure. But you can't leave your defense out there for most of the game. Okay? When your offense sucks like that and they keep on punting, missing plays, throwing interceptions. I know that the Colts didn't necessarily do that, but they did fumble. Everything adds up in a way, okay? And that's why if your defense forces turnovers and gives the football back to your offense, and your offense dominates time of possession, oh boy, that's fantastic because you're dealing the blows if you're the offense. The defense has to wait and anticipate what the offense is going to do. Even if they know the play, you still have to react to what the offensive player is doing. Whether they're offensive linemen, wide receivers, quarterback, running back, tight end, doesn't matter. Okay, this defense played good. Lou Anarumo has this defense playing good. They had another turnover. Cam Bynum has 3 picks on the year. It's just you can't expect them to go out there and play great football for that the entire game when they have to play most of it. It's just not. It's not winning football. So the defense played good, man. I can't stand the way that the offense is just playing so badly that you're leaving your defensive counterpart out there to fail. Like, especially guys like the defensive linemen. I mean, you're running full bore 150%, 100 miles an hour every play, running into fellow 300-pounders, man. Like, those guys aren't necessarily built to run marathon races. They probably could because everybody's in incredible shape in the NFL. But you're asking too much of your defense right now if you're Indianapolis. And if I'm Lou Anarumo, I'm like, look, man, I'm doing my job. Lou Anarumo is going to be a head coach. I just can't see how he's going to stay with Indianapolis. He's going to get an offer. There's already coach rumors that he's going to take over for the Giants, given how much talent they've got with Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns. And, you got all those dogs. It's just one of those things where the defense, they really did their best. So, but yeah, guys, before I kind of jump into the end of the episode here, this is really it's a bad stretch for Indianapolis. It's an exposed stretch for Indianapolis. They look like a team who out of nowhere has completely, utterly, entirely been figured out. They need to throw a wrinkle in the offensive game plan. They need to, expand their play calls, stop going for it so much on 4th down, cut Michael Badgley, bring in a new kicker, something. They got to do something. You can't just have. I know Jonathan Taylor's an MVP candidate, and he's still the best running back in football. And you need to give him the ball as much as you can. But you cannot just look at your offense and say, hey, here it is, baby, number 28. That's just not going to work. Defenses are too smart. Defenses adjust when they're getting beat. And when you are a defensive player, coach, whatever, and you see an offense like the Colts, let's say that you've got them in we'll go with the Texans, week 13. You've got a team like the Colts on your schedule, and you're watching them decimate everyone up to the point where they're playing you. You start to slowly watch that tape, and you're figuring out what is going to come. And defenses, they figure things out quicker than offenses do. I mean, they really do. I think so. That's why you saw Anthony Richardson in his rookie year. Yeah, he, in those 4 games, he played pretty good. But then that second season, it was a complete disaster because defenses figured him out. They had a whole offseason to go over his tape, and he couldn't adjust. He couldn't elevate. He couldn't evolve and match what the defenses were doing. And that's why he looked like crap. That's how Shane Steichen looks right now. Maybe not to the levels of the abysmal Anthony Richardson sophomore season, but Shane Steichen looks like a coach that has been caught up to. He is getting exposed. He doesn't have an answer. He doesn't have any wrinkles. He has nothing new. He's dialing up too many pass plays when he shouldn't be. And I just think that, it's all about Jonathan Taylor. And what year, Colts fans, do you remember it being that narrative? 2021. The Colts had a great defense. They had a quarterback that was a little bit iffy in Carson Wentz. Like I said, I think that bum leg Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Carson Wentz was that year. But the only difference is they've got an incredible amount of pass catchers and weapons to use, and it's just not working right now. So I don't think it's time to push the panic button. I don't think the defense sucks. I don't think the offense sucks. I will say, though, if they go out there and they lose at Jacksonville and you move to 2-2 in your division and you still have Jacksonville and the Texans left, and then you got the Niners and the Seahawks, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, right now, anything can happen. The Colts are a team that has more questions than answers right now. Now you've got injuries to your quarterback. You've got an injury to your top cornerback. You saw Charvarius Ward get ate up. It's going to be interesting, and I do like. Okay, so we got Tyrone Williams. If I had to say Tyrone, I'd say you're excited about because you randomly brought up the Patriots when not myself nor really anybody else even brought up New England. I hope you realize this is a Colts podcast. You do know that, right? Stop making excuses. We haven't made any excuses in this show. So go back and watch the entire episode, Tyrone. You think the Patriots are making excuses? Hey, you want me to make some excuses? The Patriots have had the easiest damn schedule in the NFL. Wait until they face a serious contender, and let's see what happens. But I'm not going to go into that very far. Do your damn job. What's the slogan? The Colts need to step up and play like they are supposed to be there. The Colts need to hit hard, run hard, and take no prisoners on the field. These teams are not better than the Colts, but the Colts have to believe that. I don't know what you're talking about, dude, but I appreciate you jumping in randomly and talking about the page. I can't tell if you're a Colts fan or a Patriots fan, but best of luck to you, pal. You're a Colts fan all the way. Awesome. Thank you for tuning in. But this is a team that has to figure things out. No one was making excuses. The Colts aren't making excuses. Colts fans, to a degree, have made excuses about the referees. And honestly, that is a part to play in why they lost. It is a part, but it is not the main reason. Okay? The Colts lost this game. Their offense looks awful. It looks behind the 8 ball. It looks like it's already 2 or 3 years behind defenses right now. And this just happened in a matter of weeks. They're 6th seed in the AFC. 4 weeks ago, they were number 1 in the NFL. So it's one of those things where they have to look at themselves and ask, what do we got to do? Look at the tape. How are they getting exposed? Where do they need to work on? What areas do they need to improve the most? you only have so many hours to prep, right? You need to take those hours and put them in the areas that you have not looked good the most, which in my opinion, it's the offensive play calls. It's the offensive adjustments. It's not Daniel Jones. It's not Jonathan Taylor. It's not the weapons. Sure, they could have caught more passes. They looked a little bit sluggish. They dropped some balls. But it's Shane Steichen, and it's this offense's adjustments to these defenses. Like I said, to those who weren't here in the episode, I believe 100% that I'm right in this. It's a 3-step process. You take away Taylor, you bring pressure on Jones whenever you do take away Taylor, and then you force Indianapolis to change their play calls a bit by loading a bunch of dudes in the box. Even if they're not going to bring a run defensive play, they're giving you the idea that, look, man, if you want to take Taylor there, even if we're dropping some guys in coverage and we don't think you're going to run, we're still going to be able to have guys here that could probably come up and make a tackle. I mean, it's all about number 28. Like they got to figure something out, because this is the game plan going forward. Every single team is going to say, sell out to stop Taylor and then blitz the crap out of Jones and hope to God that his fractured leg can withstand it and that he can deal with pressure, because he was doing great to start the year. Now he's not. But we're going to go ahead and just very briefly, this is going to be the layout for the episodes going forward. So basically, I didn't mean to get defensive, Teresa. That's a good point. I probably shouldn't have flown off the handle like that. But it's like, no one's making excuses. No one was talking about the Patriots. Like, no one cares in this podcast about the Patriots. The Patriots have had a bum schedule coming up to this game tonight, and God forbid they're playing a 2-10 team. So, or 2-9, whatever. So this is a game where, the Jaguars, man, they are a legitimate team. They're 8-4. They're the same record as the Colts. Like, Trevor Lawrence, say what you will about him. He has played great against Indianapolis. Brenton Strange is back. Brian Thomas Jr. is a massive letdown this year, but Jacoby Myers, they got him, and he balled out in the last game. They absolutely leveled the Titans, which everybody does seemingly. But Travis Etienne, he can always be a problem against the Colts. He's done really great against the Colts. This defense, while they're not super great against the pass, boy, oh boy, are they great against the run. They're going to do everything they can to take away Jonathan Taylor. And honestly, Liam Cohen, he's got them playing great. This is the best I've seen the Jags look in some time. And right now the Colts are they are the favorite. They're a money line favorite but based off of DraftKings, -122. So they're a 122 favorite, but the Jags are right behind them at +102. It's a -1.5 point spread. It opened at -2.5 though, which tells you that Vegas is looking at this like, actually, don't be surprised. I mean, the Jags are at home. Colts haven't won there since 2014 with Andrew freaking Luck, and they've played Jacksonville every single year since then, meaning they're like 0-10, at Everbank Stadium since then. So I would not be shocked at all if by the time it's Friday that Vegas has the Jaguars as the favorite here. We'll see, but this is not an easy game. Indianapolis is going to have to show something, because the Jaguars, they want to contend for the AFC South title again, just as bad as the Texans do. The Titans, they're looking to the draft already, pal. Like, no one cares about the Titans right now. But Indianapolis, it's gut check time. It's time for you to show why you're paid so much money, why they invested so much in the offensive line, why they traded for Sauce Gardner, why they, believe in Daniel Jones and essentially aren't going to take Anthony Richardson's, fifth-year option. It's time. This is where you got to do something, because I'll end the show with this. Tyrone, look, man, the defense does need to play better. But as I mentioned in the earlier parts of the episode, you can't leave your defense out there like they did with the Chiefs for 45 minutes. You can't leave your defense out there for 35 minutes out of the 60. If you're Indianapolis, you're going to tire out so quickly, especially at the end of a game. And at that point, I don't care if you have Sauce Gardner, Charvarius Ward, and Kenny Moore all playing all-pro seasons. If you're gassed, three things. You're going to slow down. You can't hide it, and teams are going to pick on you if you're gassed. They're going to pick on you. They're going to throw Every chance they get at you, they're going to send guys deep down the field so that your guys have to run and try to keep up. I mean, the defense does need to step up, but man, they were absolutely winded at the end of the game, just like they were against the Chiefs. So we'll have to see. But guys, this is going to be very interesting. If Indianapolis, God forbid, misses the playoffs after a 7-1 start, after everyone's like, well, Steichen's staying, Ballard has done his job finally. That Daniel Jones, they finally found a guy. Okay? I don't know what they're going to do. What do you do if you started 7-1 and you somehow finished 10-7, missed the playoffs, or even 9-8, or dear Lord, 8-9, and you lose the last like 8 games in a row? I mean, you can't continue with this regime. You can't do it. You simply have to. You have to like reconsider everything you've been doing. And I will also say this. I don't know if I've ever seen a season in recent memory where a team started off 7-1. They're setting records. They've had a resurgent quarterback like Daniel Jones. You have an MVP candidate like Taylor. You've got a head coach candidate in Louis Anarumo taking care of business on defense. You've got a breakout candidate in Alec Pierce, balling out. Leatu Latu, balling out. And you go and miss the playoffs. I don't know if I've ever seen that, and I don't know how you can keep your coaching staff or all the players the way they are. I would fully expect – I mean, you're locked into Sauce Gardner, right? But who knows what would happen. Let's just hope that doesn't go down, because if that actually happens and Indianapolis falls apart and they can't make the playoffs after this start and all these moves, and especially trading 2 first-rounders away next year in 27 – I don't know what you're going to see. So hope fans, hope that the Colts can win against the Jaguars, because if they drop this game and they lose their 4th out of 5 and 3rd straight, I do not know what you are going to see. But guys, that's the show. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me. This is the first time I've done it by myself in quite a while. Like the Horseshoe Huddle on Facebook, follow Indianapolis Colts on SI, and of course on X, we are at Colts_SI. Subscribe to the Horseshoe Huddle on YouTube and click the bell to turn on all the notifications. If you want to listen, good news, we will hook you up on Apple, on Spotify, Google Play, wherever else you listen to podcasts. And of course, we have to highlight Paul Wilson and Patrick Rye Super Chats. Thank you so much, guys. Stick with me for the rest of the season. We're going to get more of a structure going. It's just we're kind of in a little bit of a transition period right now, a little bit of ambiguity, but that's not always a bad thing. And also shout out to Noah Jaber, who in the meantime is taking care of all the behind the scenes stuff like a freaking legend and a boss does. So thank you so much, guys. Enjoy your Monday. Try to just hang in there with this team for right now. Now, I will say, smash that panic button if they lose against the Jaguars. Smash the hell out of it, because I think that's when you need to kind of say, oh boy, they've lost to the Jags, they've lost to the Texans, and now you've got the Seahawks and the 49ers. You got the Jags and Texans again, one of which is at NRG Stadium. So that's when you hit the panic button. But for right now, guys, believe in this team. Shane Steichen, there's still hope that he's going to make adjustments, but we'll have to see. But until then, enjoy some Monday Night Football, enjoy Thursday Night Football, enjoy the weekend slate, and enjoy your week. And I'll be seeing you guys again on Monday. Until then, take care, Colts fans.